Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Day 1 and Beyond Did You Know session. In this webinar series, we focus on new features and enhancements of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and discuss how these solutions empower businesses to achieve greater efficiency, security, and scalability. Whether you're a seasoned OCI user or just getting started with your cloud journey, you're in the right place to explore what's new. My name is Taylor Zhang, and today we'll be chatting about what's new with Oracle Cloud Personalized Training with Larry Beausoleil. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Larry Beausoleil and Anand Prasad.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor. So I know most of you have joined and are very curious about Oracle personal training. Before we do that, I wanted to just break the ice here. Like, and I know many of you probably know this information, and few of you don't. Like, cloud adoption is getting so increasingly widespread across the globe, right? I think, did you know that more than 90% of the organizations today use cloud, and 94% of the major companies worldwide use cloud computing? That's an awesome numbers. Like, if you look at 10 years back or a decade back, right? These numbers were significantly lower, and I think it's fast approaching right now. And maybe in a decade later, I think the numbers will be still staggering higher, closer to almost to the upper 90s, like 99%. So that's what I think we are imagining. And with that, before we talk about the Oracle Cloud Personalized Training, I want to talk about the workplace challenges, right? Some of the things which I think you probably know, the technologies are coming in so fast paced, right? You can look at the slide today, right? At the left-hand side, the developers, programmers, they are really have to update it constantly. And towards the right, you can see all the latest and greatest technologies coming in at a faster pace. Like, I want to have a conversation with Larry Busiol today, and then I wanted to ask him, with this so much coming in, whether it's AI, data science, like on the far right, augmented reality, et cetera. What are the common workplace challenges customers face today in upgrading their resources to meet the business requirements? Larry, I wanted to start off with that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different challenges. We're not entirely focusing on the technology today, but it's the learning of the technology that we're going to focus on, because it's something that we have information overload. I mean, you know as well as I do that there's so much information out there that we have to consider and look at and understand to be able to apply and build out the best possible solution for what the customer is trying to solve, or what problems we're seeing in the technology space. So there's a lot of things that we have to look at. Going down this list, prioritize learning and adoption. We have to understand, technology is going to change. Are we moving as fast as the technology is changing? Because companies are launching something new almost every day. New companies are coming out, new ideas, new concepts. Because I look back at some of the stuff that I learned early on. When DevOps was one of the first things when it started changing. Like, oh, you have to look at it this way, and you have to look at it from this perspective. And so it's constantly changing and evolving. And so how do you grow with it? With the training methods, with the content that you're looking at, and then looking at what you have to measure the impact. So as a company that is providing these technology, what is the impact? As a company that is consuming the technology, what is the impact to your business if your individuals don't know the technology and aren't utilizing it? And one that I don't think we're going to dive deep into, but just kind of highlight is resistance to change, because this is something that we all know. Like, at a certain point in our career, we've learned a lot, we know a lot, and it's like, oh, this is how it is. This is what we know. This is how it should be done. And there's definitely some good things to be talking about when it comes to, like, this is the way it has been done. But how do you handle that change? How do you handle that? Hey, this is the new technology we're going to implement, and this is why, and how to have those conversations. And that's part of the learning and understanding what is the product able to do and provide for you. And then as we kind of look at like the industry trends, like this is something that, industry trends change. In the course of my career, I have seen companies go to cloud, come back from cloud. And it's something that you're still progressing to cloud. Now the next change is more multi-cloud with more on-prem mix and just kind of what are you looking for? What does the customer need and how are you going to be able to solve it? And then finally, a cost management. This is something that the rapid pace of technology change can impact budgeting and cost management. You have to understand like, okay, how do we allocate budget for training, or how do we make sure we give the individuals on our teams time to be able to succeed in training and succeed so that they can actually implement what's being asked to be implemented, because technology is very fast moving, and you have to figure out what pace you're going to be moving at. So there's a lot of things you have to consider when it comes to the training challenges, and then that translates into, okay, what technology are you learning and how you break that down. So
Okay.
there's a few things here, Anand.
Thank you, Larry. I think that was very interesting. I think you covered a lot of these topics today on the information overload to managing the resistance to keeping up with industry trends. Oracle, as you most know, has been leading this innovation moving into the cloud computing for a decade, right? I know that Oracle has been very aggressive in implementing the latest and technologies. Let's zoom in from an Oracle perspective. What is Oracle trying to provide to its customers and helping its customers equip and solve some of these challenges which you listed today, right? Can you talk about from an Oracle point of view, how is Oracle helping its customers?
Definitely. With training being one of my passions, I always look at what is out there and how can we really best serve the customer, to help them get up to speed. And this is something that from Oracle's side, we have no cost learnings, we have paid learnings, we have certification exams, and then we have digital adoption platforms. So there's a lot of different pieces from that side. And then there's a lot of different teams that kind of assist in this journey depending on what the customer is trying to do. So if we look at like Oracle University, for example, Oracle University provides some no-cost learnings, for Oracle Cloud infrastructure trainings. And then there's going to be some subscriptions. So that's something that they have a subscription model for some of the other trainings that they provide. Then you have Oracle Cloud personalized training, which we're going to dive a little bit more into what that program is, how it functions today. And then finally, we have this Oracle Code Innovate, and that's another program that's kind of along the lines of personalized training. Excuse me. And these two programs are something that we're here to really help the customer with where they're at in their journey. And then we also want you to get certified. So we all lead to the same goal when it looks at, we're trying to make sure the customer understands how to utilize the product so that they get the most out of it. But it's something that, as you see here, there's a lot of different options.
Perfect, Larry. So I think one thing which got to my attention, Larry, is I know you listed a couple of options here. I think Oracle Cloud Personal Training is a new term I have heard right now from your conversations today, right? Can you double click on it? Can you talk about what are the offerings Oracle Cloud Personal Trainings offers to the customers? How can customers take advantage of it? I want you to zoom in on Oracle Cloud Personalized Training options and resources it provides for the customers.
Yeah, definitely. So Oracle Cloud Personalized Training, this is a program that I've been working on and building out for a few years now. And this has been broken out into a couple different flavors. So we have personal training, and this is going to be kind of our one-to-one instructor-led, virtual instructor-led program. And this is something where we engage the account team and the customer, and we work closely with building out, hey, here's a training plan to really help them get up to speed. One of the new features that we just launched for this program is the QuickShot Live Labs. And this is something that we're going to talk a little bit more about each one of these in just a second. And then finally, we have Day One and Beyond. So you're joining us on our Day One and Beyond, which is our webinar series to hit that one-to-many virtual and really get the awareness out about Oracle Cloud and what the capabilities are. And we have that in a few different fashions on Day One and Beyond as well. So diving a little bit further into this, so what is personal training. So the overall program is Oracle Cloud personalized training. But the first piece of this where we really started was how do we meet the customer in their journey? Not certification training, but just training to get a customer, get an individual up to speed on what does the product look like, how do we use it, and how do we implement it. And so that's where we kind of came up with this idea of personal training, because you think about going to the gym. This is something where you got to lift weights. You got to have those reps in place to do this. So this is where we provide multiple sessions. We have instructors on these. And one of the big things, this is at no cost to the customers. We do currently provide this to North America customers, and we do have some pieces around this where 5 attendees minimum, and we have certain pieces to really give you that chance to build, create, destroy in that learning journey. And so that's kind of personal training. One of the next pieces here is going to be our Quick Shot Live Labs program. For those that really want to get in the console right away, this is still going to have kind of a 5 attendees requirement. But this is going to be something that we have a hands-on approach, and we're using a platform called Live Labs so that customers can get in the console, but we're doing this as an instructor-led, instructor-guided virtual session and walking through what the lab looks like. And this is something that we have a little shorter time window because we're using this from a pre-curated catalog to start deploying this. And finally, we have our Day One and Beyond series. And Day One and Beyond, this is something that has been in the works for a while because we want to we can't hit every customer in all of these programs. So we wanted to figure out how do we scale this? How do we really hit all the customers and give everybody a chance to learn about the products, get started, get some understanding. So we built this Day One and Beyond series that has multiple tracks now. So we have our initial our quick starts, we have our high level 50,000 foot flyover view in our normal customer webinars. We have hands-on workshops where we have an instructor kind of going through this. And then we just kicked off our Oracle Analytics webinar, so going into OAC. And so that's going to be something that's running for a little bit in multiple sessions. We have a security webinar because I think security is very crucial, and it's something that we need to be trained on because with going back to some of the pieces we talked about early in this on is the fast moving technology. When you have new technology that gets implemented, you need to understand how to protect it, how to make it secure. It is very crucial. So that is something that we want to make sure security is one of those bigger topics that we talk about. And then, we're on the Did You Know series. So what's new in OCI, talking, really quick snippets of what does this program look like? How do we, what are new products? What are new capabilities that are in the console and we can dive into. But that's kind of the overview of Oracle Cloud personalized training. And we really, like I said, want to meet the customer where they're at in their journey.
Perfect. I love the way you walked us through the personalized training. Larry, I think I'm very excited. I'm pretty sure the audience is also very excited to take advantage of all these options. Like, can you pick one of the things which I personally believe is seeing is believing, right? Can you pick any sample session from the personalized training and then walk us to the customer, showing us the glimpses of what happens in that personal training, right? And I want the customers to get that gist of what happens in that personal training to even get them more excited to take advantage of these offerings. Can you double click on that and show us a sample session?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the ones that is again, this is a 50,000 foot flyover view because this is where we start. Everybody has to start somewhere in their technical journey. I remember the first time I started learning tech, I crashed a computer. I was like, oh man, that was fun. But it's something that you have to start somewhere in your tech journey to figure out, okay, what are the next stages? What do I need to know? And so we built out this course called Oracle Cloud Technical Quick Start. This is going to be the foundations of OCI. This is an overview of OCI services. So we go into identity and access management because, again, there are certain pieces that are very crucial in this journey to get to the more advanced topics because you have to understand some of the core pieces to be able to use data science, to be able to use some of the DevOps tools, to be able to use all of those, you need to understand how is the infrastructure built out to be able to support that tool, to get the best performance out of it, to get the best practices of implementation. And so we start with observability and management because you want to know what's going on. You want to know the networking that's going to be deployed, the compute that needs to be used, the storage, the database. And then finally, when we actually run this, as an instructor led, we're going to run this as a demo lecture model. So we're going to be in the slide deck and we're also going to be in the console. And by the end of this, this is something that you're going to be able to understand, a couple different things, the building blocks of OCI. So what are what is an availability domain? What's a fault domain? What's a region? And how those are all constructed? What does the security look like around this? So VCNs, different gateways, different firewalls, and then be familiar with some of the basics, but this gets you started to dive down that journey, that rabbit hole of learning, because it's really excited once you start getting into this because you're like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. You start playing with it, and so one of the pieces I want to do is I'm going to hop into the console here and really kind of show you what that looks like. Sorry. So here's the OCI console. Perfect. So we're currently logged into the OCI console. So for the tech quick start, this is one of the things where we start. We show what the console looks like, what it's capable of, and really make sure that, okay, what's the navigation? What's this going to do for us? I know everybody probably on this call has logged into some sort of console, some sort of tech at some point, gone to a web page. So you're going to have navigation, you're going to have search. We have our compute, and you'll notice that we have some little push pins here, and these are going to stay on the front page. So it's like, oh, well, we used to, use this. So I have pinned resources, so I can go back to these pinned resources because that's something that I use often or need to use often. And then we get into what does compute look like? So for the sake of this, because I know, based on time, we can't dive into everything. And that's where some of our other trainings come into play of diving into this further. We do have, we're going to create an instance, and what does that look like? So we'll talk about it, the instance naming, how is that important or crucial, the compartment we're going to launch in, and you'll see that you have a summary of what it potentially is going to cost to run the particular instance that we're about to launch, and the ADs. There's different advanced options here when we start launching this. And security, we dive into this when we get into this conversation because this is something that, do you need a shielded instance? Do you need, is this confidential computing? What does that look like? What are the compliances? What are the policies that you have to meet? And so we really want to talk about all of these pieces when it comes to what are we training on? What does the customer need to know to get up to speed? There's different images that you can use, customer managed or Oracle provided or vendor provided shapes or images. And then we have different shapes here, and we can change these and adjust. So we have AMD, Intel, Ampere. We have specialty ones for GPU and high performance computing. And some of these are adjustable. So like this one, if we're using the AMD, this is a flex shape, so this can be adjusted, and then we can also turn on burstable, so that this is something that will expand based on our usage. And we have different forms of flex shapes as well. We have a couple different options when it comes to our VNICs, so you can have specific VNIC names, primary network, subnets. And then one of the cool things, when we go into this, we talk about Terraform, we talk about Resource Manager and creating stacks. And so there's a lot of different pieces in the console that we can look at. And with that said, like this is the OCI console, but the other piece that I want to really quickly kind of demonstrate about our program is the fact that all of this stuff can be looked at and found here on the Oracle Cloud Personalized Training page. So this is something that we recently launched to where you can request a consultation and you can kind of see what we offer, what we have to offer when it comes to training. our Day One and Beyond webinars, our live lab hands-on workshops, and then kind of go through, what is the FAQ around this. And we'll make sure that this gets shared out. So if you are a customer that's in North America and looking for this, or even if you're in other locations, we'll do our best to try and track down and point you in a good direction for training, because we want to help everybody. We want to make sure that you're getting trained on the products. But that's kind of what it looks like when we go through the console and we talk about, the tech quick start. You're welcome.
Thank you for that presentation as well. It was very informative for me as well. Now I know that you guys have spent a lot of time and efforts in putting this program, and I think your forward-looking strategy as well. Now, can you spend a few minutes? I want to see that. I think the customers are excited of what are your current offerings are. Can you spend a few minutes and then talk about what is your future thought, future roadmap? Like, what's your plans for next 6 to 12 months from a personalized training perspective?
Yeah. So we're not going to go into like detail, but we're going to do a high level here and really quickly talk about, we're going to expand our one-to-one offering in what we're training on and our one-to-many. So we're going to add new topics, new series, things like that. We're going to work on getting some more deployment agnostic trainings. So depending on the products, what that looks like. We're going to add some more personalized learning paths for our training, for our one-to-one and one-to-many as we kind of grow the business. Training on trending topics. So one of the key ones right now is AI, ML. That's a hot topic. Using chatbots, using, all of these things are becoming a little bit more uh, relevant to businesses. So we want to make sure that we're training on those topics that are current and relevant. One of the ones that, for us, if you look at Cloud World, the last time we went to Cloud World, is 23 AI, making sure that that's, everybody's aware of that product, making sure that everybody's aware of some of the new features and capabilities that came out and the new collaborations with Microsoft, with our with other vendors in where we're hosting our products. So that is something that we want to make sure those topics are covered. Additional hands-on labs, because I'm very much someone that needs to get in the console, build and break it. So if I break it, I learn how to use it. And so that's one of the things we want to make sure hands-on labs are available. Working with Cloud Customer Connect for different enhancements on community engagement, and then training on topic requested by customers. So this is something that we want to make sure that we add more topics for what customers want. We want you as the audience to say, hey, we're interested in this topic. Is this something that you can cover? Is this something you can build out? We may not be able to answer that tomorrow, but we will do our best to get that into our pipeline, especially for our Day One and Beyond. We want you as the audience to say, hey, what do you want to learn? Because it's something that there's a lot of topics out there. There's a lot of things that we can learn.
Depending upon the content we covered today, I'm hoping that this was very informative for our customers to take advantage to the employees as well as enable the workplace training from Oracle perspective.
Yeah, we do have some questions in the chat. Someone's asking, we have missing metrics in our production environment. Do you have any resources such as checklist documents or links that we can use to look at what we should check?
But I did answer that question. I encourage you to contact your Oracle team member, and I also provided a documentation link. They will understand the type of workload you have deployed, and they will be able to guide you about the metrics from there, the how you review the metrics and everything.
Awesome. And then we have another one asking, are there any other trainings like similar to the specific topics such as XSCC or Fusion apps?
I'm pretty sure there's one for XSCC on the developer YouTube channel, but there's definitely XSCC when it comes to like Oracle University, and I'm pretty sure that they have a training series on Fusion app. Those may fall under the paid subscription. We'd have to take a look at that more. But there are definitely different training options for those two topics because we've delivered them to customers as virtual instructor led sessions. But it's something that we have not had those on our day one and beyond piece. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely let us know and we can look into how we add that a little bit later on. But I know that those trainings are on our platform somewhere. Um, so I don't have the link off the top of my head. So, but definitely take a look because it will, these links right here for like Oracle University OCI training, they're going to have some options there in some of the specialty topics in some cases.
Once again, I'd like to thank Larry and Anand on talking on the personalized training team today. And our next webinar will be on Monday, February 24th. So please join us for a session on Level Up Your Application Development with Vector Search. Thanks again for joining us and see you next time. Have a great Monday.